planet Earth. Just a tiny speck in a vast universe. Yet, this seemingly insignificant planet holds the key to the destiny of all existence. It looks so beautiful, its climate and conditions delicately balanced to provide an environment unique to sustaining life itself. It seems an idyllic home for all mankind to live together in harmony. That is exactly how it was intended to be. But there was a problem. The effects of this problem are felt by every single inhabitant on the planet, regardless of race, nationality, class, wealth, or religion. As we journey in to take a closer look, the symptoms of this problem are acutely obvious. Our world seems to be filled with insurmountable problems. All these are the consequences of just one thing. This is not how it was in the beginning. God made man good, in His image. Humanity was designed for intimate friendship with God. Man was in perfect relationship with God. When God created the world, He made it perfect. The ecology, the climate. Nature was in perfect balance. There was no violence, no disease, no death. There was no sin. God gave man dominion over the earth. Mankind had complete freedom to act, think, and make choices. To enjoy this perfect life forever, Adam and Eve only needed to keep one rule. But they broke it. At that moment, the perfect relationship that mankind had enjoyed with God was broken. Because God is holy, utterly righteous, He cannot live with sin. A great divide was placed between God and man. It is in the heart of every human to reach out to God. That is why there are so many religions in the world. They're all trying to make people acceptable to God by doing good things or being good people. It doesn't work. No amount of good works can pay the penalty for sin. Sin utterly separates us from God. The result of man's disobedience to God was sin entering into the world. The consequences are obvious to us all. The final outcome is death, forever to be separated from God in hell. So is there any hope for mankind? Not if we're relying on our own efforts and abilities. Human history demonstrates that we cannot improve or save ourselves. That is why God Himself, in His great love, stepped out of eternity, took on human form to live among us as Jesus Christ. Though He faced the same temptations that we do, He never sinned. Even the Roman governor at the time said, I find no fault in this man. Only such a man would be able to take the place of sinners as a substitute acceptable to God, and that is exactly what Jesus did for you. The man who had done nothing wrong submitted himself into the hands of sinful men. They beat him, abused him, cruelly tortured him. Then they subjected him to the most horrific, agonizing form of execution known to man. God demonstrated his love for you in that while you were yet a sinner, Christ died for you. History attests to the fact that 3 days after his public execution, Jesus rose from the dead, demonstrating that neither sin, nor death, nor hell had any hold on him. His voluntary sacrifice had been accepted by God, and the penalty for sin, for your sin, has been paid in full. What Jesus accomplished by his death was to remove the great divide of sin that separated sinful man from holy God. The way was opened for us to come back to God and to receive his free gift of eternal life. All that God requires of us is to turn away from the sin that separates us from him and to believe on his Son. So, there is before you a simple choice: the way of life and the way that leads to death. All have sinned. God created everything perfect. The first humans disobeyed God. The world's problems are caused by sin. The consequences of sin is death. Sin separates you from God. Bridging the gap. People try to find God through various religions. Practicing religion does not remove our sin problem. Only God is able to deal with our sin problem. God sent his only Son, Jesus Christ, to remedy the problem of separation. Jesus died for us. The punishment for sin is death. Jesus died for us, taking our punishment. To prove that God accepted his death in our place, he raised Jesus from the dead. Jesus is the only way back to God. What must I do? You must realize your sin separates you from God. Recognize that only Jesus can remove your sin. Trust that his death has taken your sin away. Be genuinely thankful to God for this amazing gift of eternal life through his Son. Which way will you choose?